Outgoing Sri Lanka President arrives in Singapore. Sarawak's Land and Survey Department Digital Service won international awards, and CBD products in Malaysia would be by prescription only. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, everyone. You're me, Douglas Elliott, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with this top story. Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived in Singapore at around 8 p.m. on Thursday after fleeing his country on Wednesday. Sourcing Singapore's foreign ministry, Rajapaksa had been allowed to enter the city-state on a private visit, and that he has not asked for asylum nor been granted an asylum. Rajapaksa, who fled to the Maldives on Wednesday to escape protests in his country, headed to Singapore on a Saudi Arabian airline flight. His arrival was met by a group of security guards and was seen leaving the airport VIP area in a convoy of black vehicles. Rajapaksa has yet to resign despite promising to do so by Wednesday, which has stirred renewed uncertainty in crisis-ridden Sri Lanka. His decision on Wednesday to make his Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe the acting president triggered more protest, with demonstrators occupying Parliament and the Premier's office demanding that he quit too. Protests against the economic crisis have simmered for months and came to a climax last weekend when hundreds of thousands of people took over government buildings, blaming Rajapaksa's administration for inflation, shortages of basic goods and corruption. Geographic Information System, or GIS, plays a vital role in building, visualizing and displaying data related to positions on Earth's surface, while understanding ecosystems on land, ocean and shoreline that provide the services that support life on Earth through 2D and 3D technology. Utilizing the use of GIS technology, the Electronic Land and Survey Information System, or ELASIS, and the Mobile LASIS by Sarawak's Land and Survey Department today won the Special Achievements in Geographic Information System Award at the 2022 ESRI User Conference in San Diego, California. On hand to receive the award on behalf of the Land and Survey Department was Deputy Premier Dato Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan. The award served to recognize user sites around the world with outstanding work with GIS technology. ELASIS and Mobile LASIS beat more than 100 other contestants for the prestigious award. The ELASIS provides vital land information, geographic location, and cadastral boundaries integrated with Global Positioning System GPS for Sarawak, in addition to provide imagery-based map to provide fast, accurate, and reliable services through a safe and easy-to-use platform that is accessible anywhere and anytime. The ELASIS and Mobile LASIS, which serves as a one-stop virtual office to transform the department's service delivery system, had already won other accolades such as the ESRI Malaysia Geo Innovation Award 2021, Public Service Innovation Award 2020, Malaysian Association of Creativity and Innovation Award 2020, and Geospatial World Excellence Award. Also present at the conference were Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Urban Planning, Dato Len Talif Saleh, and Advisor to Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Investment, Dato Muhammad Naruddin Majais. Ministry of Health is taking a cautious approach and viewing international practices and scientific data on the use of cannabidiol or CBD products. It would first begin by assessing product registrations by next year, followed by clinical trials on certain diseases. Only once evidence is gathered, the use and provision of CBD by medical officers will be expanded.
Dari segi peraturan ya, setiap pharmaceutical produk farmasi mesti ada product registration holder di Malaysia. Ya. Biasanya adalah syarikat farmaceutical yang terlibat dalam bidang farmasi. Jadi nanti kita akan keluar kerangka bagi pendaftaran produk-produk CBD. Yang saya jangkakan kita boleh keluarkan kerangka itu pada tahun ini. Dan selepas itu pihak NPRA akan menilai proposal tersebut. Dan saya sasarkan pada tahun depan kita boleh mula mendaftar beberapa produk CBD.
Its Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said what's important currently is the accuracy of the product data from safety aspects and its effectiveness against certain diseases, in addition to education and scientific exposure on the matter to medical officers. Khairi also stressed that the use of CBD would be on a prescription basis only and not for personal or recreational use. He pointed out that there have been many proposals sent to open cannabis farms, but Malaysia had not reached that stage yet. On the framework approval, Khairi said the CBD product registration will be obtained this year and will be assessed by the National Pharmaceutical Regulation Agency and PRA. Matters pertaining to parliamentary candidacies remain the prerogative of the Premier of Sarawak and PBB President, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg. Its Women's Wing Chief, Dato Sri Fatimah Abdullah said, although the women incumbent's fate will be in the hands of the Premier, the call for an increase in women's representations in the upcoming general election, whereby women's political participation is seen as a fundamental prerequisite for gender equality and genuine democracy.
Itu soalan yang harus dituju pada Premier. Jadi hari ini apa yang kita tetapkan ialah kita mesti bekerja sebagai satu pasukan untuk memenangkan calon. That's very important. Siapa calonnya, yang itu akan ditentukan oleh Premier.
She told this to reporters during a press conference after chairing the Women's Wing Supreme Council meeting at the PBB headquarters here on Thursday. Fatimah said the Bureau would meet after this to discuss the target number of new members and how to achieve it. She said the Political Bureau was one of the 4 new bureaus set up under the Women's Wing.
Bilangan ahli PBB seluruh Sarawak 356,972 yang merangkumi wanita dan pemuda. Wanita dan lelaki. Wanita 171,560. Sebab kita dapati sekarang ini bilangannya kurang daripada bilangan lelaki. Bilangan wanita dari segi representation wanita dalam badan induk bertambah sebab bagi kita ini penting ya, supaya kita ada wakil, bilangan wakil 5, tidak kurang dari 5, boleh lebih daripada 5 ya, mewakili wanita.
Fatimah said PBB currently has 4 women members of parliament, namely Datuk Rubiah Wang, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri, Datuk Sri Rohani Abdul Karim, and Datuk Hanifa Hajar Taib. Audiences will be entertained by performances by local artists like Faisal Tahir, Ricky Anderson, Claudia Garris, Firdaus Matrang, and Valerie Tiam during the Sarawak Day celebration, which will be held on July 22nd at Cebu Indoor Stadium.
Minister of Women, Child Development and Community Welfare, Dato Sri Fatimah Abdullah said the celebration this time would return to its physical format after 2 years of hybrid observations due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to her, various events have been arranged by the Sarawak Protocol, Ceremonies and Event Management Unit or UPANS for the celebration.
Adalah amanat yang amat berhormat Datuk Petinggi, kemudian simbolik perasmian oleh Tuan Yang Terutama Yang di-Pertua Negeri Sarawak. Ini upacara yang biasa juga dalam upacara rasmi seperti ini, upacara menaikkan bendera. Dan selepas itu ada persembahan teater musical. Right.
Meanwhile, Fatimah called on the people of Sarawak, especially in Cebu town, to fly the Sarawak flag at their respective premises to brighten up the spirit in tandem with the Sarawak Day celebration. She also noted that the celebration will also be aired via live stream as the stadium has a capacity of only 1,200 people. The Sarawak Day 2022 celebration will be broadcast live on TVS channel on Astra 122 and MyTV, as well as on the Facebook of the Sarawak Public Communication Unit URRGENT and YouTube URRGENT channel.
Questions loom on why the Sarawak government has yet to gazette the amended definition of native in the Interpretation Ordinance. Responding to this, Deputy Minister in the Premier's Department for Law, MA63 and State Federal Relations, Dato' Sharifah Hasira Said Aman Ghazali said the matter is in the midst of drafting for a more suitable condition to safeguard the special position and rights of the native of Sarawak enshrined under the Federal Constitution.
In a statement, the state government needs to ensure that the set conditions and requirements are suitable, reasonable, practical, and more importantly, are not redundant with the current conditions, requirements, and process. To achieve this, she added that the state government has directed the relevant government agencies, such as the Council for Customs and Tradition Sarawak, the Native Courts of Sarawak, and the State Secretary Office, together with the State Attorney General's chambers, to look into this matter holistically. Upon completion, the draft conditions and requirements will be presented to the Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri for approval and implementation, for the ordinance to be gazetted for enforcement.
The provision of subsidies to the people is among the government's approaches that will be implemented to ease the burden borne by the public. The government remains committed on assisting the people to overcome the impact of the increasing cost of living due to the global spike of inflation rate.
Those subsidized goods are for the rakyat. Yeah, you know that the cost of living is skyrocketing, not only in our country, but world over. Yeah, so that's the way. For the moment, that's the way our government try to minimize the impact of the high cost of living.
Citing an example, Martin said the spike in fuels such as oil and gas indirectly affects the production costs incurred by manufacturing industries. In turn, this would cause an increase of their product prices in an effort to absorb high production costs.
Once energy price goes up, everything else goes up because production costs will go up. You know, transportation ke, pembuatan ke, dia memang naik. You know, and there are countries who are worse off than us as far as inflation is concerned, around the world. Not only kita di Malaysia lah. Everywhere else, and that's the impact of post-COVID lah.
He said this after officiating the closing ceremony of the Consumer Advocation Program Empowerment of Syrian Division Consumer Role. Meanwhile, commenting on the misappropriation of controlled and subsidized goods, including hiding of supplies by a minority of traders, he said that the action was unethical and should be dealt accordingly under the law. Right, coming up after the break, over 2,000 Bangladesh workers ready for employment. Plus, heatwave swept across China and Europe. Right here on Tvs Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. More than 2,000 Bangladeshi workers will be available for employment after the verification process of 15 agencies had been completed. The Ministry of Human Resources (HRM) said the previous technical issues that were delaying the recruitment of the workers into the country have been resolved. The ministry said employers who had paid the levy and planning to hire Bangladesh workers can now submit their applications for confirmation of employment and work visa documentation to the Bangladesh High Commission in Kuala Lumpur. However, the entry of the workers is subject to safety and health screening, including compliance with the requirements of the Immigration Department. On December 19 last year, Human Resources Minister Dato Sri M. Saravanan and his Bangladeshi counterpart signed a Memorandum of Understanding on the recruitment of Bangladeshi workers to work in the country effective until December 2026. Saravanan said the MOU outlined the responsibilities of both countries, including those relating to Malaysian employers and Bangladeshi workers, as well as the responsibilities of private employment agencies in both countries. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Human Resources will hold urgent discussions with the Ministry of Home Affairs on Indonesia's decision to temporarily halt the entry of its workers into Malaysia. The ministry said the discussion will be held immediately to address issues related to the entry of workers from the neighboring country, including Indonesian domestic helpers. Indonesian ambassador to Malaysia Hermono was reported as saying earlier that an official letter had been sent to the Human Resources Minister last Tuesday regarding Indonesia's decision to temporarily stop sending workers to Malaysia. Hermono said the decision was due to allegations of a breach in the terms of agreement on the recruitment and protection of domestic helpers signed by the two countries. He also said the move was taken following the use of the MAID online system by the Malaysian Immigration Department in the recruitment of Indonesian domestic helpers, which was deemed to be a violation of the agreement signed on April 1st. Over 33,000 Malaysians is set to benefit from the Tourism Recovery Plan 2022 initiative, which is one of the government's initiatives under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture that involves the distribution of incentives in the form of discounts and voucher rebates.
Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, Dato Sri Nancy Shukri said all the e-vouchers can be obtained when booking a hotel room through the Shopee application, with a redemption limit of 3 times for each MyCard owner.
Di bawah kluster penginapan ini dianggarkan seramai 33,830 rakyat Malaysia akan berpeluang menebus tawaran rebate voucher bernilai antara RM50 sehingga RM100 menerusi pembelian bilik penginapan hotel seluruh Malaysia bermula 1 Julai 2022 sehingga 31 Disember 2022.
Among the accommodation involved in the initiative are hotels under the Malaysian Association of Hotels MAH, Malaysian Association of Hotel Owners, Malaysian Budget and Business Hotel Association MyBHA, and Rangkaian Hotel Seri Malaysia Sdn Bhd. As such, she calls upon the Malaysian family to take the opportunity to participate in the domestic tourism industry in addition to enjoying the incentives offered by the government.
An effective cross-border payment service is essential for Malaysia's small yet highly open economy to support trade and commerce with its neighboring countries as well as with the rest of the world. Bank Negara Malaysia Governor Tan Sri Nur Samsia Muhammad Yunus said the central bank is now pursuing multiple efforts on many fronts, such as by linking Do It Now, its fast payment system, with ASEAN neighbours.
Citing the efficiency of Do It Now, where within Malaysia, the service has enabled fast and convenient money transfer among millions of individuals and businesses. He said if the same efficient service is expanded in the region and made accessible to 600 million people, the economic impact can be significant. Adding further, he said that ASEAN economies are highly integrated, with intra-ASEAN trade accounting for the largest share of the total trade in ASEAN. Noor Shamsia said this during the Casual Talk Session 1 at the Digital Economy and Finance Festival organized by Bank Indonesia. Theme: faster, cheaper, more transparent, and more inclusive cross-border payment to promote regional economic recovery. Also participating in the session were Bank Indonesia Governor Peri Warjio, Monetary Authority of Singapore Managing Director Ravi Menon, Bangko Sentral Filipinas Governor Felipe Medalla, and Bank of Thailand's Deputy Governor Ronaldo Munonda.
You're watching TVS Nightline. China's most populous city, Shanghai, on Thursday issued its highest alert for extreme heat, the third time this summer. The red alert warning indicated temperatures expected to rise to at least 40 degrees Celsius over the next 24 hours. Meanwhile, wildfires swept across Europe, with Turkey, Portugal and France all reporting devastating blaze. The hot weather coincided with mass testing for COVID-19 in several districts this week amid the latest outbreaks. Shanghai residents queued up in sweltering heat for compulsory mass testing for COVID-19, just as it tries to recuperate from a 2-month lockdown lifted only a few weeks ago.
天气这两天特别的闷热，这也是反正我来上海以后感受到的最热的温度了，基本上每天都在40度左右，然后这体感温度的话都我觉得有45度了，非常非常热。
Over 60 Chinese counties and cities issued orange heat alert across China. The world's #2 economy already suffered severe damage from sweeping COVID restrictions in the second quarter, affecting global supply chains and international trade. Over in Turkey, thousands of people were evacuated due to a wildfire in Dakta Peninsula as firefighters battled a raging blaze fanned by strong winds that spread to residential areas overnight. More than 450 houses and 3,530 people were evacuated, with 10 planes and 20 helicopters were involved in the efforts to douse the flames. The blazes in southwestern Turkey conjured memories of last year's summer fires that ravaged 140,000 hectares of countryside, the worst on record. Countries including France and Portugal, suffering from a second heat wave in as many months, have been hit by a series of wildfires over the last weeks, with nearly all of Portugal put on red alert for extreme heat conditions, with the highest temperatures of 45 degrees Celsius in the central region. Scientists say human-induced climate change is making heat waves more likely and more severe. Hyundai Motor on Thursday launched its first electric sedan, the IONIQ 6, which the South Korean automaker is touting will help grab a bigger share of the electric vehicle market dominated by Tesla.
The IONIQ 6 is one of the more than 31 electric models that Hyundai Motor Group, including Hyundai Motor, its sister company Kia, and premium brand Genesis, plans to introduce through 2030 to secure a projected 12% of the global EV market. Hyundai Sedan will expand its EV range beyond its current crossovers and SUVs to compete head-to-head against Tesla's best-selling Model 3 sedan. The IONIQ 6 will be priced in the range of 55 million won to 65 million won, approximately 220,000 ringgit for the South Korean market. Additionally, Hyundai said the Hyundai electric sedan will have a driving range of about 610 kilometers, around 30% more than the IONIQ 5 crossover.
One is a national boxing legend and Malaysia's first ever Commonwealth Games gold medalist boxer, and the other is an up-and-coming boxing sensation from Sri Aman, whose stellar performance in the Professional Boxing Championships in Pakistan earned him the nickname Kilat Boy. Catch the two titans, Major Sapok Biki and Daloniel McDillan, as they will be speaking to host Ghazali and Sharon Kazia, only on Sejahtera Asia at 7:45 a.m., only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. And beginning tomorrow, TVS Nightline will be aired at a brand new time slot. From Friday, July 15 onwards, TVS Nightline will air at 11 p.m. You heard that right, 11 p.m. to bring you all the news that matters. And that's all the time for TVS Nightline tonight. Thank you for watching and good night.